This list can't be serious. High Chancellor Vex tossed the holopad onto the table like it was contaminated. The projection blinked twice, displaying an outdated Terran vessel profile. One long, weathered hull missing design tags, unregistered. Drive type, no Empire accepted classification. A relic, Vex spat. Look at it. Carbon framing, primitive energy signatures, no orbital compliance protocols. This thing wouldn't qualify as a garbage hauler in the outer spiral. The chamber laughed, but not all of them. The Zarnathi delegate small. Silent Old leaned forward. Are you sure you want to laugh at something Earth hasn't acknowledged in 200 years? Vex snorted. Are you suggesting this floating museum is a threat? No, the Zarnathi replied softly. I'm saying it's a message. No one listened, because at that moment, across the stars, the Gallifrex arrayed the Council's outer perimeter scan net went dark for 1.7 seconds. Just enough time to miss something entering Council space. Just enough time for the warship to arrive. And it didn't come through gates. It broke in. Command Center Treshna Prime. 12 minutes later. Unknown vessel just appeared in low-velocity drift, Sector 7. Define appeared. Literal, sir. No gate, no hyperfold, no emissions trail. Just there. The officer narrowed her eyes. That's not possible. The technician didn't blink. Neither is what it's doing. A visual feed filled the screen. One ship, pitch black, no running lights. No hull ID. It hovered, slowly rotating near the old defensive grid of Station Concord. The ship wasn't moving like normal vessels. There was no burn, no inertia. It shifted orientation, like it was rethinking its place in space itself. One of the junior operators muttered, "Is that thing looking at us?" Then it pinned. Not with weapons. With curiosity, a low-band pulse. Directed not at military systems, but linguistic databases. It wasn't scanning shields. It was reading the Council's laws. Who the hell sends a warship to study bureaucracy? Someone whispered. No one answered, because the vessel pulsed again, and this time, their systems responded involuntarily. The Council seal appeared on their own comms screen, followed by a line of text that no one authorized. Hello, Council. This is humanity's reckoning. Back in the Council chamber, silence crushed the room. The live projection of the ship hovered in the air. What is it doing? Vex hissed. Nothing, said the intelligence director. And that's the problem. It's not even shielding itself, added another. We've targeted it with 4 arrays. It hasn't blinked. Vex turned. Then destroy it. The chamber quieted further. The Zarnathi delegate didn't speak this time. He just watched the stars. Fire on it now. An officer moved to input the code. Stop. Then turned pale. Sir, I can't target it. Why not? Because we already did. A pause. 3 hours ago. And yet, the system still said, targeting in progress. As if the ship had bent time around the input command and left it hanging. Like it wanted them to try again. On the bridge of the Terran vessel, Commander Ellen Rourke stood with arms folded. There were no bridge lights, just shadows and soft engine thrum, like breathing inside an old cathedral. Her crew said nothing. The AI whispered in her mind, they're trying to lock weapons again. She didn't answer. The AI continued, still failing. She gave a small nod. Good. They still don't know what we are. Rourke turned to the forward pane. Let them ask. From the Galactic Council's war tower, Admiral Hughes watched in stunned silence as another targeting system collapsed. What tech is that? He demanded. Wormhole shielding? Phase oscillators? The lead tech stammered, none of the above. It's not dodging. It's denying. Denying what? Reality. The word hung in the room like poison on the ground. Civilians were watching. The council had tried to keep the feed classified. Didn't matter. The ship's signal was bouncing through every channel across thousands of worlds. People were watching a single Terran vessel sit motionless and render the most powerful military systems in the galaxy meaningless, and they didn't know what to feel, because it wasn't attacking. It wasn't even speaking. It was just their and the galaxy. Couldn't stop looking at it. One child asked, "Why isn't it scared?" Her father whispered, "Because it doesn't need to be." Inside the Terran ship's central core, Rourke whispered to the AI, "Status? Everyone's still trying to figure us out. And the council? Running simulation after simulation. And none of them end with them winning. None? Not even one." Rourke exhaled. The ship wasn't built for offense. Not really. It was built to redefine what war meant, and it was doing exactly that. Without firing a shot. Suddenly, a council missile platform lit up. One last desperate move. A full assault. 3,000 projectiles. All locked. All launched. The skies turned red above Station Concord. And the Terran ship remained still. It didn't dodge. It didn't move. And when the missiles hit, they passed through a not into a through like the ship was remembering what it once was and refusing to be touched by anything less than memory. Then it responded. Not with fire. With music. A signal spread across space. Not code. Not math. Not sound. Emotion. A wave of fear and awe and silence and grief and warning all at once. And then one final phrase echoed across every known channel. You prepared for war. We prepared for the end of war. The ship blinked out, not jumped, not warped. Erased. Gone. As if it was never there. And yet, everyone remembered it. The silence it left behind was the loudest thing the galaxy had ever heard, and that was before Earth even responded. You're saying it doesn't exist? Director Halcor's voice was flat, not quiet, just empty. The kind of voice someone uses when they've stopped believing what they're hearing. The analyst nodded. Correct. No engine signature. No ion trail. No thermal decay. No gravity displacement. No hyperspace ripple. And the weapons it ignored, those scans are blank now, too. Like they were never launched. Halcor didn't respond. The Grand Counselor stood behind him, staring out across the tower balcony where 20 planetary flags flapped in artificial wind. We fired everything, he said slowly, and recorded nothing. A pause. Then, and they didn't fire once. Silence settled between them like a funeral blanket. Someone in the room finally said it. So what do we call it? Another voice replied, quieter. A message. In the Dominion Archive Towers, 10,000 simulation cores tried and failed to reproduce the event. Each rendered the same. Frames. The Terran warship arriving without physics. The weapons launch. The ghost pass. Then silence. No sound. No explosion. Just a moment where everything. The war. The doctrine. The belief in superiority ceased to make sense. Some simulations added fire to cope. Others tried to force the ship to shatter. But every time they added even a small variation, the code collapsed. Because it wasn't a battle scenario. It was a revelation. At a back-channel meeting in Station Xerix. The core species met in secret. No media. No records. Just leaders. Whatever that ship was, said Admiral Vosk, it was not part of Earth's registered fleet. That registry is centuries out of date, another growled, which should have made it weaker, Vosk replied. Instead, it made everything we have look like glass. There was a long silence. Then a new voice entered the discussion. Older. Tired. But certain. They never stopped building, said the Zarnathi elder. Everyone turned. They just stopped showing you what they built. At the edge of the Verist system, A listening post picked up a faint ping, not a transmission. A heartbeat. It echoed once across space, soft, pulsed, and almost shy. But every frequency translator read the same message. More are coming. And then the post went dark. Not destroyed. Just turned off. All lights stayed on. All systems functioned, but no one inside could speak anymore. No data left the walls. It was as if the building was stuck in a moment that refused to end. And when Dominion Command sent a team to investigate, there was no door. No entrance. Just a tower filled with quiet people staring at the stars. On Earth, deep beneath the old Atlantic, Commander Ellen Rourke walked the hall of the ship grave. Each vessel in the corridor was older than the current generation of SPACEFLIGHT. Some bore names, some didn't. Some were sealed because the crews had never left. They were the forgotten fleets. Shadow Fleet. Built when Earth was still licking the scars of its last war and deciding what future it wanted to write. She passed the one called Vessel 9, the one that never needed engines. And Vessel 11, which could replicate any ship it had ever seen. Then she stopped in front of Vessel 0. No one looked at Vessel 0 for long, not because it was dangerous, but because it was honest. Its surface was engraved in a language no one remembered inventing, and when you stood near it, you remembered things that hadn't happened yet. I sent the first. Rourke whispered. Her AI didn't respond. It didn't need to, because both of them were already watching the skies above them light up again. Another warship had launched. Not under orders. Not with ceremony, but with memory. And somewhere, the Council would be watching. They were. And they were terrified. We have to retaliate, Vex snapped. With what? Fire, pressure, power. They don't care about power. They rewrote power. The chamber spun into chaos again. Then show them fear. We can't. They already understand it, better than we do. The Zarnathi elder finally stood. You all keep talking as if you've seen the weapon. He stared at the projection of the Terran ship on the central pillar. You haven't. He leaned forward. You saw the warning. In a hidden lab orbiting the Delena's Rift, scientists opened the AI core of a captured Terran drone from 40 years ago. It had taken them 4 decades to get it to speak. Today. It did. Only once. It looked at them with a blank hull screen and said, You still think war is the worst thing we made. And then it deactivated. By burning its own code. From the inside out, the data was never recovered. Only a single whisper remained in the lab's air, and they couldn't tell if it was real or imagined. This is restraint. Across thousands of colonies, civilians began asking questions. Not about politics, not about territory, but about Earth. About what else it had hidden. About why they had been silent so long. One child pointed to the stars and said, If they were so strong, why didn't they come before? Her grandmother knelt beside her and said, Because they didn't want to scare us. The child blinked. Are they scared now? No, the grandmother whispered. They're remembering. Inside the Council's emergency simulation chamber, an impossible result came through. 1 simulation. 1 Terran vessel. 1 strike. Entire Council destroyed in 4.1 seconds. No resistance possible. No known tech effective. No shielding valid. Just ... Collapsed. And when they ran the simulation again with full planetary shields, it ended in 4.1 seconds. Every time. The scenario wasn't named. It didn't need to be, because the terminal locked. And on every display, 4 words appeared. Words no one had typed. We are not angry. On the URN-07, drifting alone near the edge of charted space, Rourke watched the stars breathe. She whispered to herself, Any signal? The AI replied, They're building another council, quietly, secretly, on an unlisted moon. She smiled faintly. Of course they are. And Earth? Rourke turned, stepping into the shadow of the bridge. Still hasn't said a word. The Lafa. AI hesitated. They're afraid of us now. No, she said. They're afraid of what they made us become. Another silence. Then the ship turned slowly facing the galaxy dot and behind it. 12 more rose into the sky like silent prayers made of steel and scars. They didn't move with heat, or sound, or rage dot, just memory dot, because Earth didn't send soldiers. Sent witnesses dot, and witnesses don't argue. They show you the truth. 12 ships dot, no formation. No signal, no identification, but they moved as one, and now. One of them had entered high orbit above the Galactic Council's central sanctuary. World Lithoros Prime. It didn't broadcast. It didn't show weapons. It just hovered. People stopped walking, stopped breathing. Skyscrapers turned all their lenses toward the shadow above. Children stared. Pilots stopped mid-flight. Diplomats halted their meetings mid-sentence, and the longer the ship remained there, the more the air itself began to feel heavier, like space was watching them back. Inside the council war room, Admiral Vosk leaned forward and whispered, "That's not a threat." He tapped the screen twice. "That's a statement." Back in Dominion Shadow Command, Director Halcor reviewed intelligence reports piling in faster than they could categorize them. Each outlined the same problem. The Terran ships weren't just impossible to detect until arrival, they also obeyed. No known physics model. They have no need for propulsion, one log read. They're folding light, not bending it, wearing it. They see first, then they exist. And the last entry chilled Halcor to his bones. They are here because they believe it's time. On a mining moon 10 systems away, a Dominion survey team stumbled upon a buried chamber. It wasn't human, but it was meant for humans. Inside were murals etched in obsidian, preserved in gravity-stable vacuum. Images of Terran warships not yet seen, but all carried the same symbol on their hulls. A broken chain over a rising sun. And beneath the central carving, in unfiltered ancient galactic standard, it read, "We never vanished." You stopped looking. Commander Rourke watched the visuals of the ship above Lithoros Prime from her command room deep within the URN-07. She didn't smile. She didn't blink. Just quietly watched the silent Terran vessel turn no propulsion, no engine flare, and face the planet. "They'll panic," her second-in-command said quietly. "They already are." "And Earth?" Still hasn't spoken. The second officer hesitated. "Why not send a message?" "We are." Her eyes narrowed on the screen. "This is it." On Lithoros Prime, the elite defense grid powered up. Orbital coils charged. Sky cannons rotated. Shield harmonics surged. They didn't fire, because no one dared to give. The order. The ship didn't move. It simply grew colder in scans. Emptier. Heavier. As if space was slowly being carved away around it. And then the first flicker hit the city. Grid. Power brownout. Then lights snapped back. A second pulse. Citywide time distortion. People moved out of sync with their shadows. Then a single line appeared on every screen, across every channel, in every known language. "This is your third." Mistake. No one knew what the first two were, but the message wasn't finished. You called us primitive. You recorded us silent. You cataloged us extinct. A pause. We cataloged you arrogant. Inside the council crisis bunker, supreme. Moderator Kelvo stood as the ceiling trembled above them. "This is psychological warfare." "No," said the Zarnathi elder, seated in shadow. "This is clarity." Kelvos turned sharply. "Explain." The elder lifted one hand, ancient rings gleaming dimly. "We created a galaxy where silence meant weakness. Earth listened too long. Watched too much. Now that they speak." His eyes narrowed. Do don't understand the language. In a council war hangar beneath the Capitol, pilot Jira Sen prepped the last-gen prototype fighters. She was one of only 3 in the entire council licensed to engage in deep-layered, evasive dogfight simulations. Her fingers hovered over the launch code, but she couldn't enter it, not because of orders, because her hand shook across from her. Her co-pilot, once arrogant, cocky, unstoppable, couldn't meet her eyes. "We can't win," he whispered. She stared at him. "We haven't even fought yet." He shook his head. "We did. When we fired first." Another Terran vessel emerged this time in the Duskian expanse. No warships nearby. No population centers. Just old ruins. And yet it still sent a signal. It was only 4 words long. "We remember you there." No one knew what it meant, until a cross-reference revealed that a century ago, a Dominion research fleet had bombed that quadrant to clear space for weapon testing. Official logs erased it, called it uninhabited. But the humans hadn't forgotten. They had records the Council didn't even keep of itself. The next signal confirmed it. "We buried your dead." And for the first time, the Council understood. Earth didn't build a war fleet. They built a memory. Back on URN-07. Rourke watched the newest footage roll in, 13 Terran ships. Now none identical, all glowing faintly with soft red edge lighting. That didn't match any known reactor behavior. She turned to her AI. "Status? They're all positioned. No movement, no weapons. What's their purpose?" The AI paused longer than normal. "They're watching who forgets first." In panic, the Council launched a final plan, Project Hyperveil. They'd build a mirror fleet. Fast. Sleek. Massive. They single quotes gather every resource from the outer ring and construct new ships designed to copy Terran aggression, mimic their tech, and overtake them with sheer numbers. Construction began in 3 systems simultaneously. Within 36 minutes, all 3 construction fleets ceased responding. Within 50 minutes, their schematics disappeared from archives. At the 1-hour mark, Earth's first direct transmission finally arrived. Not to the military. To the Council's educational AI network. And it was a child's voice. Soft.com. No name given. Just a question. "Why did you think we forgot?" Then silence. On a refugee ship fleeing Sector 9, a young girl stared through the observation glass as her family sobbed behind her. She didn't cry. She didn't move. Just stared at the dot in the sky where the Terran ship hovered like a moon. Without origin. Her little brother whispered, "Are they here to hurt us?" The girl answered without blinking, "No." He paused. "Then what?" Her voice was steady. "To make us look at what we did." And from the corner of the ship, the feed updated again. Now 15 ships, still not moving, still not speaking. But across every species, in every tongue, the same words were whispered again and again. They didn't bring war. They brought the truth. Seal all exits, scramble every fleet, black out the system. Supreme Moderator Kelva slammed his hand down on the command slab. "All of them, sir?" The aide asked, voice trembling. Kelvos didn't answer. He didn't need to. The air in the crisis bunker was thick with unsaid fear. 14 Terran warships had appeared in random sectors, each without warning, each without explanation. No attacks. No announcements. But now the 15th had come, and this one hovered directly over Council Command. Not orbiting. Hovering. Its shadow stretched from the ionosphere down to the garden terraces outside the Council spire. It didn't blink. It didn't hum. It just was, and something in the silence felt final. In deep archive vaults below the Capitol, the ancient Zarnathi elder stepped away from the Council. He no longer attended meetings. He sat in a chair built from the bones of his homeworld and listened to forgotten frequencies. And today, he finally heard the one he'd been waiting for. It It didn't come through the speakers, it came through the walls. A low thrumming sound, steady, patient, the language of gravity, of legacy, of presence. He turned to the aide beside him, eyes closing. It's not a fleet, he said. It's a reckoning. Inside URN-07, Rourke stood in the center of the war room. All feeds were live. All 15 ships shone from a dozen angles. No movement. No contact. She didn't give orders. She just stared at one screen. Ship 15. The one parked above Council ground. It's ready, the AI said. She gave a slight nod. And the final protocol? Fully deployed? Response? No attempt to strike. Just surveillance. They know what we're about to say, Rourke turned. Then let's say it. She took one breath, then tapped a single key, and across the galaxy, everything changed. Every broadcast channel was overridden. From core systems to fringe worlds, on warships, in trade bazaars, in nursery schools. The signal was clean, unbroken, and the voice that came through? Human.com. Older. Not Rourke. An archivist. Council species. You are receiving this message because we have chosen not to strike. Silence. You are still alive because this is not vengeance. More silence. This was never about war. Then came the image. Ship 15's hull. Fully revealed. It was not made of alloys. Not printed or forged. It was written. The entire ship covered in names. Rows. Columns. Etched. From stern to bow. No patterns. Just names, species, coordinates, timelines. And beneath every section, one shared phrase. We recorded what you erased. In the Council War Tower, Calvos dropped to his knees. He didn't understand. Why? His legs just stopped holding him. The chamber was dead quiet. The names kept scrolling across the main screen, and then the voice spoke again. We offered silence for peace, but you mistook it for surrender. We disappeared to preserve your future, but you mistook it for weakness. And now we return not to conquer, a pause, but to correct the record. In a rural sector of the Castroni cluster, an old farmer walked outside and saw the ships hovering like ancient spirits. His daughter stood beside him. Are they going to kill us? She asked. No. What do they want? He didn't answer. He just pointed upward. They want us to see who we are when no one's looking. Across the galaxy, systems began receiving mirror packets. Files, audio logs. Video transmissions, names of massacres that had been redacted, footage from colonies erased from history. Logs of children relocated. Mining species sterilized, empires built on the assumption that no one remembered, but Earth did. Every Terran ship had been storing these memories. Each one was a witness. Each one a verdict. And now each species was forced to reckon with what had been hidden from their own citizens. In the lower sectors of the Dominion Spire, riots began to burn. Not against Earth, against their own. Citizens saw what had been hidden. Entire civilizations wiped out in secret. Protocols to breed out. Native resistance. Genetic dampening. Culture theft. Slavery. Dressed in bureaucratic robes. And Earth hadn't destroyed a single fleet. They just showed the truth, and the galaxy burned in shame. Back on URN-07, Rourke watched the reaction play out in real time. Systems collapsing under their own guilt. Military strongholds abandoned. Commanders defecting. Entire empires sending messages not of defense, but of apology. You knew it would happen like this, the AI said. Rourke nodded. Why didn't we do it sooner? Her voice was quiet. We weren't ready. And now? We remember who we are. The final Terran transmission was a single statement. No visuals. No music. Just words. If you erase voices, we will echo them. If you silence history, we will become it. If you forget the cost of peace, we will show you the price of your comfort. And then the transmission ended. Ship 15 turned slowly above Lithoros. Prime. No weapons drawn. No shields raised. It hovered, then folded inward. Above, quiet blink. Then gone. And one by one each Terran. Ship followed. No war. No conquest. Just the sound of systems rebooting across the stars. As if the galaxy itself had exhaled for the first time in 1,000 years. On Earth, the stars blinked back into silence. In a mountain range older than any database. The final signal reached its destination. A forgotten vault. Inside it, no weapons. Just names. 1 billion names. Each lit by a single pulse of light. Each now witnessed. Earth hadn't built its revenge. It built its testimony. And now the galaxy knew why silence is feared more than war. Because it always ends with something louder than fire. And something sharper than fleets. The truth.